This is kind of an odd thing to be doing. So like sometimes I think about this and I'm like, what a weird instrument. Like it's like weirdly shaped and then you like hold it off to the side. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. Hey fiddlers, welcome to today's fiddle focus video. Today we are going to make some arrangements. Sounds like very ominous. We're going to be taking a jig and we're going to play it 3 times through and figure out how we make it interesting. This is a really fun creative process because you take a tune that you could just play and it would be great, it's a nice tune, but you're finding ways to kind of vary it and mix it up a little bit so that it has a kind of story arc as you play it through several times. You'll see what I mean. If you'd like sheet music and practice tracks to go along with the tune that we are focusing on today, the Miller's Maggot, you can get that at the link in the description. You can get the tune, variation, harmony, chord chart, all kinds of good stuff, and you can vote on topics for my future videos. Let's get started. So the tune we're focusing on today is called the Miller's Maggot, which is kind of an odd name for a tune, but hey, this is kind of an odd thing to be doing. So like sometimes I think about this and I'm like, what a weird instrument. Like it's like weirdly shaped and then you like hold it off to the side. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. So the Miller's Maggot is a jig. I'll just play a little bit of it so you know what it sounds like. Today we're going to play this tune 3 times through. That's kind of a nice standard number of times to play a fiddle tune. I'm going to walk you through what you're going to do differently the first, second, and third time. We're also going to talk about beginnings, transitions, and endings. And altogether, that's kind of all you need for a good arrangement. 3 ways of playing the tune and good beginnings, transitions, and endings. So first off, let's sort out the beginning of the tune. And there are a few different ways that you can start a tune well. Some people will just dive right in, so they'll go like this. Some people will do sort of this intro that's based on the chords of the tune, so maybe take all the B part chords and just play some sort of long, wistful notes over those chords. So something like this. What we're going to do is we're going to take the rhythm of the jig and we're going to do some simple double stops that kind of build into the first time through the tune. So it'll go like this. With your open G string and your 3rd finger on the D, we'll go. Alright, so we've got that nice little introduction. Now we're going to go on to the first time through the tune. And the first time through, I like to just introduce the tune. Just my truck friends on the road. Don't mind them. They're friendly. So the first time through the tune, I like to sort of just introduce it. Not too many frills. We might throw in a couple of ornaments, but we don't want to change the melody too much or do anything too fancy or energetic. This is just a chance to let the simple beauty of the melody shine through. So we'll just play the melody. I'm using some slides and some mordants, which you can learn if you watch my other videos, but none of that is going to change the tune all that much. Okay, then we get through the first time through and we're going to go into the second time through. The second time through, I kind of like to build up the energy. We're still not changing the melody too much. Our listeners are still kind of getting used to how the melody sounds. But what we can do is we can add some energy to it, and I like to do that with double stops. Double stops are when you're playing 2 strings at the same time. Very often you can do some double stops just by picking up the open string that's below the melody. So we're kind of starting to build energy, and all the way through this second time through, but particularly in the second B part, just as we're coming to the end of the tune, we really want to build up the energy. First time through was like this level energy. Now we're kind of going into the third time through. There are a couple of ways to build up the energy as the tune goes along. One is dynamics, so we can start to make it louder. Another is double stops. We can just add in some double stops below the melody. And one kind of fun way to do this might be to play the tune an octave lower in the B part, and then just go up an octave just as we're leading into the third time through. Here's what that might sound like. Okay, and here's where a fun transition might come into it. One thing that's really fun to do as you're building up the energy is to put an unexpected stop in the tune. So we might leave off just a couple of those last few notes just to give it that space right before we dive into the last time through the tune. So here's the last time through the B part of the tune, the very end of the tune, leading into the last time through the tune. So that very beginning of the last time through the tune, we're starting with a bang, and that's kind of the high point of our arrangement. Okay, now we've arrived at the third time through the tune, and this time what we're gonna do is we're going to really just have fun. We're gonna play with the melody. It's okay if we go off the rails a little bit. It's okay to have a bunch of melodic variations, and it doesn't have to be so strictly sticking to the melody of the tune. So here are a few melodic variations we might throw in there. I just literally went into a different tune. And as we're wrapping up the tune, one thing I kind of like to do is put in a few stops that sort of signal that the tune's about to end. There's something about throwing in these short little stops in the last phrase. It kind of tells you like, okay, that's enough. We've played this tune enough. We're wrapping it up. So here's how that might sound. Alright, so just to recap, we have our little double stop intro. First time through the tune, just simple, kind of presenting the tune to our listeners. The second time through, we're going to build up our energy and the transition will be a quick stop. And then the last time through the tune, we're going to just play with it and kind of try a bunch of different variations, let ourselves go a little off the rails, and we'll wrap up with a few little stops that show that the end of the tune has arrived. Okay, so here's what that might sound like. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright you guys, so that is our arrangement of the tune. Of course there are so many different ways you could arrange a tune, but this is one way that I've found that works really well. I don't do it all the time, I do all kinds of different things. I mean, you know, we're fiddlers, we're flexible, we can do what we want. If you'd like sheet music and practice tracks for the tune that I just played, the Miller's Maggot, you can get those at the link in the description. You'll get the tune, variation, harmony, chord chart, all sorts of good stuff. Also, you'll be able to vote on topics for my future videos. My patrons voted for this video today. Actually, it was a tie with a couple of other topics, but I chose this one because I felt like it. Thanks so much for tuning in and happy fiddling. I will look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye guys.